Okay. So I was watching this video a few minutes ago of this guy that he was watching some old Twilight Zones. You know, really made some good TV shows back in the 60s, 50s, and 60s. Some real thought-provoking stuff. Star Trek was one of them, and The Outer Limits, and The Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone was very, very thought-provoking in the things that they dealt with, the issues that Rod Serling brought up. Gene Roddenberry, the guy who made Star Trek, and Rod Serling, the guy who made the Twilight Zone, looked at the state of America and the state of the world and seen a lot of problems. While everybody around them was screaming, "This is the greatest country on earth, the most powerful country on earth. We've got the biggest bombs, the biggest military, the baddest blah 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 blah," and that's eventually what it becomes. It just becomes the noise as you get older and older. Because as you get older, you start learning about other countries and the freedoms they have, which are just about the same as ours, and the laws that they have, and the ideas that they have, and we're all really similar to each other. But the thing that makes my country, America, the country I was born and raised in, it's the only country I've ever known. I've been to Canada a few times just because I live close to it. I live in Michigan, so there's a few bridges and a tunnel that go across to Canada. And we've never needed a passport to go there. We've always been that friendly with each other that we didn't need passports to go to Canada or to Mexico. Until after, 9/11 happened, then things changed, and we still don't need a passport, just a real ID that verifies that, the state has seen your birth certificate and can verify that you are who you say you are, etc. But the difference between America and the rest of the world is that this country doesn't have customs and doesn't have a long history or tradition. This year, 2026, America celebrates its anniversary of existence, of its own existence, which is only 250 years. And boy, what a difference there is between now and our bicentennial, because I was alive during our bicentennial, and that was in 1976. We were celebrating our 200th anniversary. Our country was 200 years old, and everybody was happy and ecstatic about everything that was happening in the world. America was thriving. There were more jobs than there were people. Companies were competing for people. Wages kept going up, faster and faster because companies were competing for bodies to do work, to produce for them. And I've always mostly been in Michigan most of my life. I lived in Florida for a decade. I lived down south for a few years here and there. And I've been up and down pretty much the East Coast of the States. I've never been out west. I've never seen California, Las Vegas, none of that. Never been to Mexico. Never flown overseas and seen anything in Europe. I don't know anything about any of that. But I'd always felt a great pride in the country and believing that we was not the greatest, but one of the greatest countries in the world because we brought democracy in, and once the rest of the world had seen how successful it was, all of Europe became a democracy because of us. And that was like the main reason why I always thought America was the greatest country on earth. Because we changed the whole world by what we had become. The rest of the world seen it and not only envied it, emulated it, copied it, and became better at democracy than the United States. Because now in 2026, they're trying to roll back all of our rights. Our right to speech, our right to assemble, our right to protest, our right to agree or disagree. And then the hate came out, which I always knew there was racism in our country. I'd experienced it myself. Being from the Detroit area, I grew up having black friends, white friends, Asian friends, friends from the Middle East, friends from everywhere, Asian friends, just everything. There's a part of Detroit that's called Mexitown where hardly anybody there speaks English, but you can find somebody to speak English and communicate back and forth. And in parts of Dearborn, there's people that hardly speak any English at all there either. They speak Arabic, and I don't speak any other languages, only English. But I've never had a problem with anybody else because they've always come here and adopted themselves to what little bit of customs we have, which aren't any customs. The customs of America is this. This is the American custom. We are a country of immigrants. All of our ancestors immigrated here at one time or another from another country. They brought their customs, ideals, and beliefs with them, and they became part of the fabric of what America was, or so I thought. My customs are the customs of people from everywhere in the world. We have tacos on Tuesday, spaghetti, pizza on Wednesdays. We had different days that we celebrated different ethnicities in our country. Still do. A lot of people still do. And then at the same time, there's the hate. Now, at the beginning of my babbling, I brought up Rod Serling, who made The Twilight Zone, and Gene Roddenberry, who made Star Trek, and how both of them had seen back then, before I was even born, some of the things that was wrong with America. And Rod Serling made a show about the Cold War, about America during the Cold War times, and I remember that. I remember when we was a little kid, about if a nuclear bomb was coming for us, that we would curl up and hide under our desks and underneath our school desks, or go out in the hall and line up against the walls. It was the same. The bomb, the prepare for a nuclear bombing was the same exact scenario for if we was preparing for a tornado. It was the same exact drill. Go out in the hall, get away from the windows. Everybody curl yourself up. Put your hand on the back of your neck and curl down. Like on an airplane, like curling yourself in the seat is going to save you from smashing into the ground from 30,000 feet in the air to terminal velocity into the ground. But it gave people a false sense of hope, so that's what we did. Rod Serling made a show about the days of the Cold War where people were building bomb shelters in their basements or out back. And in his Twilight episode, this guy had built a bomb shelter in his basement and was showing it to his neighbors and telling them, that if anything ever happened, he was ready, that it would save them from the initial blast because it was all steel reinforced and everything. They had enough food in there to last for some months, and hopefully it would be long enough to last for when the radiation dissipated, and then it would be safe to come out. And, none of this would have worked. They would have died, okay? But he took whatever precautions he could to try to save his family. And his neighbors, of course, thought he was wasting his money, and he was stupid, and it wouldn't save him, and it would just be a totally dumb thing anyway. And they was mocking him and making fun of him for it and telling him how stupid he was. And right at the end of him telling them about his bomb shelter and everything, an alert came on the radio. A real alert. He didn't make it up. It wasn't a joke. The government came on, they did a test tone, and they said that the Air Force had detected multiple missiles headed over the North Pole at the United States of America from Russia. And we were about to be bombed, and if they had the ability to take cover, take shelter, to please do so immediately. In which the guy, we'll call him Ted, okay? Ted and his wife and his child, the three of them, went into their bomb shelter, locked the door, and the neighbors that were flipping out, or that were laughing at him and mocking him, began flipping out, saying, "Hey, you got to let us in." He's like, "I'm sorry, I told you guys, when I built this, I only built it for my family. Besides, you guys thought it was stupid anyway, so, go in your basement and take cover, and hopefully if everything's okay, we'll see what happens." They demanded to get in now, right now. And he said no, he refused. So after each 2 or 3 different neighbors from 2 or 3 different houses all begged for him to let him in, and he said no, they started turning on each other and telling each other that they didn't deserve to be in there with him anyway because they didn't have the same value that he did. They had lived in the neighborhood longer, they had been friends with Tom for longer, they had worked with Tom on his job, and you don't even really know Tom, you just moved into the neighborhood 2 years ago, so, if anybody has a right to be in Tom's shelter with his family, then it's me. And they would say, yeah, but, I've helped Tom fix his house, and we redid his roof last year, so no, I haven't been living here as long as you, but I've done more for Tom, or, okay, we'll change his name to Tom. I've done more for Tom than any of you ever have even thought of doing for Tom. Yeah, you might work with him, and yeah, you may have lived here longer than me, but me and Tom have actually done more together. And then the other guy steps back up again and says, yeah, but you're not even from here. You're not even a real American. You haven't even been here for long enough to even know what it's like to be an American. And if there's going to be a bloodline saved in any of this, then it should be the American bloodline, not your bloodline. And so then after arguing and realizing that the arguing and persuasion wasn't working, Tom was not going to open the door, they decided that it wasn't right for Tom and his family to be safe and them stay outside the shelter and die. So they went and got a big steel beam and started smashing it into Tom's door until eventually they busted Tom's door open and said, "You're not gonna let us sit out here and die while you and your family are safe in there and everybody gets to be safe and secure and fine and dandy. If we're gonna die, then you're gonna die with us, because it just ain't right." Of course, at that moment, the alarm came back on the radio again and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we regret to inform you, we were mistaken. There are not missiles headed at the United States. It is simply a couple of satellites that were in space that failed, and the trajectory that they were falling at made it look like it was an imminent threat. We do apologize for the inconvenience. We're very sorry. Now the whole neighborhood standing in Tom's kitchen is like, oh, well, you know all the stuff that I said I didn't mean. I was just saying it because the stress and the intensity and the craziness of the situation, I didn't mean any of that. And all of the neighbors are left with the thought and the knowledge that whether you said something while you was under stress or not, how could you come up with such an idea or such a belief unless it was already something that was inside of you? And the stress, just the current stress of what was happening, brought out who you really were. That's where we are. When I see ICE agents running around the country saying that foreigners aren't welcome, immigrants are illegal, they don't belong in my country. Who signed this country over to you? Where is your bill of sale? Where is your title to this country, I ask? So maybe they teach kids different in school now. Maybe they teach them to be hateful and racist and bigots. But when I was growing up, we learned in school that we are all immigrants. Even if you have native blood in you, you're not 100% native. There might be one or two of you out there listening right now that may be 100% native, but you are 0.0001% of the population of this country. Because 99.99999% are immigrants. Whether your family, my family came here in 1625, I am an immigrant. So people talking about how they've been here. Donald Trump's family came here, his grandparents, I think, is it. So he's only second generation. My family came here in 1625. And I don't think I have any more right to this country than a person that's crossing the border right now, this very minute. No, I do not. Because back in 1625, it was my ancestors that were crossing the border from another nation to try to make this nation a home. And they did, because I'm here. It's the racism and the hate that hurts so bad inside that I don't even feel, I don't want to be an American anymore. I'm ashamed of my country. And I don't see any way to not feel that way anymore. I'm not going to leave. I'm not going anywhere. Because this ain't my program. This ain't what I voted for. I don't vote for hate. I don't vote for criminals. I can't remember. I do the camera. It's R3, okay. I make sure I'm inside the square. Oh no, it's the thing. I just want to clean my car up. So I will never understand people like Steve Miller or Donald Trump or any Republican that there is in this country. Because that's what happened. And if it wasn't obvious enough in 2016, it became very obvious in 2024. what the Republican Party is. And there is no denying it anymore. Because not only the second time did the most qualified person not get elected, but this was a person that was qualified to law enforcement. They had been a senator, was the current vice president, had never committed a crime or done anything wrong in their life. In our country, elected a white, racist criminal to be the leader instead of the person that was qualified for the job. After him and his group of hardcore cronies tried to overthrow the democracy of our country and murder our entire Congress, murder our vice president. And they said, those are the qualifications I desire for a leader. And now when you look at what's happening in the world, not just our country, he came in and from day one began attacking the entire planet. He started with our allies. He sent the vice president overseas to tell them that their democracy was fake and what they believed in was a joke. And they needed to kick the immigrants out. Kick the immigrants out. Our vice president, who's married to an immigrant, who has 2 half-blood children of his own. Half American, half Indian. Pretty sure his wife is only an American because she married an American and had babies. Not that it matters, I don't care. To me, it doesn't matter. It never will. Love and be loved. I don't care if you marry somebody that's a different color, the same sex, a different religion. It doesn't matter. What you do in your house and who you love is your business. Just act like a respectful adult with morals when you're out in public. That's all. That's my only requirement. I don't care what you do at home, as long as you're not hurting other people. That's it. I don't understand why some people believe that it's their mission to destroy the lives of others that they do not understand because they don't understand them and because they're too lazy to learn about them. Because anybody that I was scared of or worried about at all, ever, my move was always to learn about them, to get rid of that fear by getting an understanding of what it is that I'm afraid of. Because being afraid of a whole race of people, limiting yourself to be afraid to travel the world and see anything at all, is just really pathetic to me. I've never been able to go anywhere because I can't afford it. Just been broken poor my whole life. And I'm gonna die broken poor. Unless I win the lottery or something like that. And then I still wouldn't be mega rich. I would never hold $1 billion. Never. No way would I ever have $1 billion in my bank account. No way. I don't think I could even hold 100 million. I don't think I could even hold that. The guilt of knowing other people are starving to death in this world. I couldn't live with myself. I just have never been the kind of person to allow greed, jealousy, and envy to rule my days, or to let racism and hatred rule my nights. And I can't ever understand anybody that does. I was never into politics or anything my whole life. And still, I'm not really into politics now. I know everything that's happening politically now because I have to, because it's not political anymore. They took what was a political two-party system and turned it into a moral question of which side you care to be on now. A side of hatred, fear, and anger? Or a side of rationale, reasoning, and factual intellect? So, I just can't imagine living in a world that we're in. I would never have imagined this world. And I certainly didn't vote for it. Nor would I ever. But it hurts. It hurts as deep as to my core as anything has ever hurt me in my whole life. To know that the country I live in is an absolutely horrible, horrible place full of really awful people. And I'm not going nowhere because I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not the only one suffering like this. There's thousands of people making videos about how they're suffering every day. They can't believe that this is happening every single day. While we watch these Republicans celebrate, well, Nazis. Let's call them what they are. They're Nazis. And what is a Nazi? I don't just label people haphazardly. A Nazi is a person that believes their race is superior to every other race. It's just that simple. Their actions and all that, that's a whole different thing. They usually all want violence and to kill and murder everybody that's not like them, and yeah, that's a given. But a Nazi is just a person that believes their race is superior to every other race. There's a lot of Nazis in America. There's a lot of Nazis all over the world. And even if you see them hanging out with somebody of color or of a different religion, it's not because they love or admire that person or even accepting of that person in any way, because they are not. They are using that person for something. And when they're done getting whatever it is they need from that person, they will dump and destroy that person. Because they're Nazis. Nazis are running our country right now. After a whole year of telling all of our allies in Europe and everywhere else in the world that they are stupid, they are pathetic, we don't need them. If it wasn't for us, they wouldn't even exist. The only reason they exist is because of us. We've allowed them to. We've protected them from I don't know what for all kinds of years. And because they won't go and do our Nazi system with us and believe in our Nazi beliefs with us, that we hate them and we think they're a piece of shit now. And oh, but wait. Could you help us out in a war that we can't seem to get out of now that we started in We don't know why, because we enslaved ourselves to another country, Israel, and we let this country control us, dictate to us what we do, dictate to us where we put our money, what we believe in, who we believe in, what we think about. And this other country, Israel, has become the most insane, genocidal monster of existence that there is in existence for an entity of a state. Not the Jews, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about Jews, I'm not talking about any religion, because I don't care about religions. I really don't give a shit. I don't care if you're Christian, Muslim, Jew, Hindu, whatever, I don't care. You read whatever book you want to, you worship whatever high in the sky God you think is real. The only thing I have to say about that, any of that, is I hope your God is real. And I hope the words in the book that you read and believe in is real. And I hope the punishments that is illustrated in those books are real. And I hope that you get all that your high in the sky God promises to give you for behaving the way you do on this planet, for treating other people the way you do on this planet, for laughing at people that are hungry, for locking people out in the cold, for mocking and making fun of people that you don't understand. I hope your high in the sky God for you really does exist. And I hope your high in the sky God really does do them punishments that are illustrated in that book. And I hope you get every minute of every second of all the eternity that entails, so you understand just how short 100 years is. Because it's not a long time. Not when you're talking about eternity and eternity in hell. Imagine that. Eternity in hell. Here we are, sitting on a marble, floating in space that we estimate to be about 3 billion years old. And you think your 100 years on this little marble is so important, and you've done so well at mocking, making fun of, destroying, withholding, and hurting other people, that you're going to go to your heaven, and your high in the sky God is going to reward you for it. That your high in the sky God is going to tell you that you did a great job, and that's what he really meant when he told you to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, comfort the suffering. What he really meant was throw them out, abuse them, batter them, hire a force, an armed force, to go through their neighborhoods and drag them out of their houses and beat them and throw them on the streets, and then ship them to a country that they don't even belong to, that they can't even speak the language in. I'm sure your high in the sky God is going to say, good job for doing all them things, supporting all them things, voting for them things, holding up them mass deportation now signs. I'm sure your high in the sky God is very proud of you. But we all know your high in the sky God ain't real. And your books ain't real. Your stories ain't real. And none of your bullshit is real, because if it was, if you thought for even a second that it really was, you would never behave the way you do. I don't believe in any of that shit. I would never treat another person the way Christians treat people. Or the way, and I say Christians because they have claimed quite proudly, the national Christians of this country, that they love mass deportation. They love the cruelty that's happening. They think it's cool. And they also think it's awesome to send our sons and daughters to the Middle East to die for Israel. To die for another country, not in the name of freedom, not in the name of honor, or dignity, or truth, or justice, in the name of What is it? What exactly is the reason again? Oh, because it's fun to murder brown people. Isn't that what President Donald Trump said the other day? It's fun to kill them all. We're having fun killing them all. That's what he said. So I hope your high in the sky God agrees with you. I really do. I really hope your high in the sky God is real. Because your high in the sky God may say, well, he may say to me personally when I die, well, you never worshiped me, so I'm going to have to send you to hell, but that's the only sin you did. You did care for others you didn't know. You did have pity and sympathy for those that needed it. You did clothe the naked and feed the starving. You did all them things, and you never believed in me. Why? Why would you not believe in me? These are all the things I've written in my book, and I'll say to the high in the sky God, because you're Christians, and you're Jews, and you're Hindus, and you're Muslims, and every religion that I've seen down there on your little marble, all they push is hate, and anger, and injustice. So I figured if they studied all about you, learned all about you, written hundreds of books about you based on the Bible and all the Quran and all the other things out there, and none of them followed any of it at all, after studying it and everything their whole lives, then surely they knew that you did not exist. Otherwise, they wouldn't do the exact opposite of what you told them. That wouldn't make any sense, would it? So I don't know. I might get on that technicality. I'm sorry, my man. There was just no proof of your existence. The people that said that you existed and believed in you wholeheartedly were the worst people I ever seen on the whole planet. They cheered on the murder of tens of thousands, even millions of people with no justification just because of the color of their skin or the place they were born or the religion that they were brought up in. You know, the things that we have no control over. Because none of us had any control over what color we were born, where we were born, what sex we were born as, or what religion we were brought up to believe in. None of us were given that choice. All of us just came out of wherever, whenever, and that was it. We started from there. And for all of us that were born white boys, like me, we turned out that we was the luckiest group in the world. But I didn't ask for it. I didn't do anything special. I didn't train. I didn't learn. I didn't do anything. I was just born this way. But according to what they say, your scripture says, you know, no matter what I do, and especially, I guess, the more evil I am to people that don't look like me, don't talk like me, wasn't born where I was, don't have the same beliefs as me because they were born in a different country or continent, that somehow that's their fault and they should be punished for it their whole lives for something they had no choice in. I'm sorry, but if there ever was any evidence that you did not exist, there it is. Your own people proved it. Your own people proclaimed it. I mean, they kept saying, watch me prove to you there's a God. And then they went and murdered everybody brown that they seen. Or they went and told people what they could or could not do with their lives without knowing them at all, without knowing anything. They just demanded to have control over them. And their continuous fight to enslave the females of our planet, I just can't understand or justify. just because we can pick up a heavier object or run faster or jump higher, that gives us the right to just kill and control everything that's different from us? And that's the only reasoning? Yeah, that proved to me that you didn't exist at all. There's no way you could. Your people proved to me that you didn't exist. Your people. I wanted to believe. I wanted to have hope that it wasn't going to end and all be meaningless. But your people kept insisting that only a white man had the right to exist at all, had the right to have anything at all. Your people taught me that, or they tried to anyway. It's what they've been drilling into my head for my whole life. They have a whole network, Fox News, that preaches it all day and night. They even have women on there preaching against their own rights and their own beliefs, cheerleading every time a female's right is taken away. They took their rights to pregnancy and childbirth away. Now they're trying to take their voting rights away. And next they're going to take their employment rights away. They have it all written down in their Project 2025 book. Now, I don't see where any of that would be written in any book, anywhere. Now, I understand that, oh yeah, and they also taught me by the words of your own book that you wrote that you endorse and love slavery of both people of different races and, of course, women. Women are always supposed to be slaves for some reason. I guess just because they're physically weaker. So because they're physically weaker and we have the ability to beat them down and destroy them with our bare hands, that's what we should be doing. Because that makes the world a place of love, doesn't it? To behave in such a way. That's what your people taught me. We all want love. We all desire love. But love is only available to the white man. Everybody else needs to just accept that they only get the leftovers of whatever our insanity is going to leave behind. So yeah, it made it pretty definite to me that there's no high in the sky God. Because if there was, the Christians wouldn't act the way they do, the Muslims wouldn't act the way they do, these religions wouldn't act the way they do. You know, the lead through example, all their Jesus guy, all the shit that he said, they follow none of it. They believe in none of it. They still want to throw his name and everything and act like it's his fault that they act the way they do, but it's not. If I had the choice myself of if I can make a perfect country of what I want, would it just be white people or black people, or what would it be? What would it be? Well, the color doesn't really matter. The sex doesn't really matter. The sexuality doesn't really matter. My only requirement would be that you don't believe in the high in the sky God. You need to be an atheist. You need to have some logical sense about you. Because the people that believe in the high in the sky God, those are all the most evilest people in the world. And they blame their God or justify their evil with their God. So, I know you probably think I was born and raised an atheist and shit. Oh no. My mom was an evangelical Jesus freak. My grandfather was a Baptist minister. They taught me about God. Yep. I learned about God my whole life. All about God. And I learned that their God is no God of mine. But I already know now that I'm gonna die depressed and sad. All the things I wanted to believe in are fake, lies. Nazis rule my country. They're trying to rule the whole world. But there are more good guys than bad guys. The problem is going out and holding up signs and saying, please stop doing that, doesn't seem to be working. And us rational people that just want a peaceful world and everybody to be treated equally might have to get violent. And that's the last thing that I ever wanted to do. Was to try to get my point across by force. Because it's ridiculous. It is just absolutely ridiculous that you have to think about taking up arms to defend the fucking truth. To defend the truth. We got billionaire oligarchs doing in America right now the same exact thing that they did in Russia. You see the condition of Russia. Oh yeah, they're making lots of money off the fucking oil right now, but it doesn't matter. They're still a collapsed, failed piece of shit of a country. They've broken their people. They don't even protest anymore, just like in North Korea. They have just completely broken them where they've just given up. They're just counting the minutes. Just counting the minutes until they die, hoping they can come back as a fucking bird or something and not have to deal with this shit. That's me too. I'm hoping maybe there's reincarnation, and I'm hoping that I get to choose so that I don't come back as this ever again. I don't ever want to come back as a human again. Never, ever, ever, never, never, never. No way. I don't worship money or things. And I don't think that everybody should be living in hate and fear all the time. It's just a terrible state of mind to exist in. And to be promoting that shit as being normal, as how you should look at the world through the lens of fear and anger, is just completely ridiculous to me. Well, what do I know? I'm just a fucking idiot, right? There's just no way that I could live the way that these other people live. Lying and cheating and hoarding all the money away from everybody else. laughing and joking about how you're starving an entire country, a continent, a whole continent of people to death, like Elon Musk is doing. There's a piece of garbage. If there was ever an immigrant that needed to be kicked out of this country, yeah. If there was ever a person that doesn't believe in the ideals or anything about America, is using his wealth to change America. Came here and is using the money. He didn't make anything, by the way. Don't think that he made all of this. He came from a rich millionaire family, hooked up with some rich millionaire friends who also came from rich millionaire families, and then they begged the government for contracts and got them, and then they started their scam. Beg for billions of dollars, and when you get the money, take 80% of it, put it in your bank account, take the other for 20%, put it into the company, and then go back to the government telling them you don't have enough money to run your company like you thought. Can I please have more money? And you know, he's a white man Nazi, so he gets the money again and again, and does the same thing again and again. 80% in my pocket, 20% in yours. He buys the company, makes himself the CEO, tells the board members how much money they're going to pay him, and they all tell him he's such a great person, and then they give him the money that he asked for, which is 80% of the value of the company, in cash, in his bank. That's why he's the richest man on earth. And he's not a fucking gamer either. There's a Chinese kid that is Elon Musk, the gamer, in China somewhere, who gets paychecks from Elon Musk so that Elon Musk can pretend like he's done his whole life. He can pretend that he's a smart person and can do things. But he can't. He's just good at talking people into shit, making people believe that anything is possible. And yeah, anything is possible when people will all work together and shit. That's true. That's always going to be true. That was Joe Biden's thing right there. When people come together and work together, anything is possible. That's what Joe Biden said his whole 50-something years in politics. Now my lights turn on. Elon just steals money and convinces people that anything is possible. And we're all going to have self-driving cars next year. When I say next year, of course, I'm talking about 2008, 2009, 2010, 2000, yeah. And now Grok, you know, the AI that makes pornos for teenagers with their porno friends, with their, makes pornos with teenagers using the pictures of their schoolmates. Yeah, that's what Grok's been doing lately. You can take a picture of your friend at school, some girl that you think is cute, and show it to Grok, and Grok will produce a naked picture of you and put her in pornos for you, because Elon Musk thinks everybody should have access to everything all the time, because he's a genius, you know. He's a genius, yeah. Has to be. You have to be a genius to pay everybody else to do your work for you, don't you? Don't you? Or is that the kind of shit that's been going on through all of time? Yeah. It's sad. I live in the richest, most pathetic, brain-damaged piece of existence of a country that's ever been. And we had 248 years of... It doesn't matter anymore. It only took 1 year to show what America really was, what Americans really are. And I'm just ashamed of it all. I'm gonna die feeling ashamed. Trying to figure out how to get a passport and how to get the fuck out of this country so I can die somewhere else and no one can know that I was from here. And that's a sad thing to be thinking about. Is how do I get out of here and die somewhere else so that nobody knows where I'm from, because I don't want people knowing where I'm from. I don't want them to think that I was involved in any of this or part of any of this or believed in any of this. Wait, are they saying it's on the right now? Why would the... Did I hop into a different country? I'm supposed to be driving on the right side of the road now? Because it's been the left side the whole time. Even though my steering wheel is on the right. I mean, on the left. See, the driver is supposed to be in the middle of the road like this. So you and the other driver are always going to have a head-on collision with each other. Your passengers are not supposed to be the ones having the head-on collision with each other. The driver is. It's just easier to view everything from here, from the middle of the road, than from the side of the road. You have better angles visually to see distances and curves and stuff like that. Driving on the side, driving like this, where you're on the shoulder, you're looking across. Now you're looking across the road for everything instead of just down, which is so much more dangerous. So I just wish my steering wheel was on the right for driving in this place here. Let me in, let me in. Even though I don't know where I'm going. Why is that here? This looks like just like a regular road. 21% of roads discovered. Anyway, that's really all I think I'm going to say about that. I know for sure that I've got less than 40 years left to live. And I'm probably about 90% sure that I've got probably maybe 5 to 10 years, if I'm lucky. But realistically, I'm probably in the last 5 years of my life right now. And it's just sad that my last years in life, and it's going to go out this way, in shame, for something I didn't do, had nothing to do with. Because like I said, this stopped being political a couple years ago, for sure, without a doubt. When they said, no, I'm not going to vote for a black woman, no way. I would rather vote for a rapist, racist, convicted felon, convicted of fraud, a liar, a guy who committed treason against his country by trying to overthrow the government itself and kill the entire Congress and the vice president, leaving only himself left in power. And it failed because the Capitol Police in Washington, D.C. did their job. And I'm very proud of them. I'll always be proud of them guys for what they did. Some of them died because of it, because of that day. Nobody honors them or does anything. Not nobody, but the whole country should have, and the whole country doesn't. Instead, we honor people like Charlie Kirk. Dropped a thanks to half-mast for a guy who said that whenever he seen a black person flying an airplane, he was terrified that they might not be qualified. I hope that they have a license. I hope that they have a license, really. You think that's a funny thing to say? That an airline pilot of an airline that flies millions of people all over the world every day would hire people based on the color of their skin and wouldn't have any other qualifications at all. This is the bullshit that they pass, that people try to want to act like they believe. That grown adults try to pretend that they believe that our government, who's stingy as fuck and doesn't want to hire or fire or do anything with anybody ever, is greedy and stingy and is penny pinching assholes when it comes to us regular people, that those motherfuckers were just hiring people based on the color of their skin and their sex, being a female, and no other qualifications at all, just hiring them and putting them in the job, and somehow they were just walking in on day one and doing that job. And the airlines were hiring people to fly their billion-dollar planes with hundreds of people in them on every single trip, flying millions of people all over the world, and they hired them based on the color of their skin and not on whether they even had a pilot's license or any experience or not. And they want to pretend that they actually believe that that shit was happening at all. And so now that we've got rid of the women and the black people and the Hispanic people that were picking our food for us to eat, the problem that I'm having is why are we having a problem with qualified people doing jobs now? So I'm expected to believe, this is what we're supposed to believe. This is a good one. I love this. I love this one. This is great. That you can hire a woman or a black person to do any job, and they can walk in on day one, even being a fucking airline pilot, and just do that job without any problems happening. Now that we've gotten rid of all them people doing that, they can't seem to find any white people that can do the same thing. Why can't they find white men that can walk in on the street, jump into a Boeing 747, that was 737, whatever, and just start flying it back and forth across the country without incident? If black people and females could do it, then why can't white men do it too? What is the fucking problem? Why are we having problems hiring professionals? Why are there not thousands of white people in the fields picking our crops? Why ain't there thousands of white men lined up at the farmers' ranches right now, jumping up and down, all excited about planting this year's seeds? Why isn't that happening? Why is it that when you get everything that you want, you're still not fucking happy. Why? You said that these people were not qualified to be doing these jobs. But they were doing them. Now that you've got rid of all of them, why can't you find anybody to do these fucking jobs? If they're so easy that an unqualified person can do it just because of the color of their skin, somehow the color of their skin enables them to do whatever job, just walking in off the street, flying a fucking Boeing 737, that any brown person or any female from anywhere can just walk into the fucking airport, jump on a Boeing 737, and start flying it across the country without incident. And now that you've got rid of all these stupid idiot brown people and these stupid idiot females that are just fucking useless, now that you've got the smart, white, qualified men in these positions, why are you talking about shortages in all these fields of expertise suddenly? How can there be a shortage? How can that be possible when the white men are the smartest motherfuckers on the whole fucking planet? Something isn't adding up right. It's like these people you accused of being unqualified, it's like they were qualified or something, and you were lying. But that can't be true, can it? Because if that's true, then that means you're Nazis, isn't it? It's okay. You got your high in the sky God. He'll forgive you. Just don't die screaming. Don't die peacefully in your sleep. What happens if you die peacefully in your sleep and you don't get a chance to say, Jesus, please forgive me for all the things I've done in life. I didn't mean it. I need your forgiveness now. I will change and be a better person. What happens if you die in your sleep tonight before you get to say that prayer to your high in the sky God? Do you still get to go to your heaven? Do you? I don't think you do. Because your book says no. The book says you have to live a life as an example of kindness, love, and charity. And charity and selfishness don't play together well. Kindness and hatred, they don't get along. And violence and hate, yeah, they do get along. But that's not where the heaven place is at. That's the other place. So I guess, you know, if that's your goal, to go to what they call hell, then yeah, the anger and hatred is gonna do great for you. It's gonna do great. But you're not gonna be able to mix hate and love together and have your high in the sky God let you in to pollute the rest of the good people that already lived there. That's the problem. You are the problem. Because you think you're going to be able to bring all your hatred and evil into heaven. And you're going to find out that you can't pollute something and it still be that something. Whoa, heaven's not heaven if it's full of hate and anger. You change it. It's not heaven no more. But I guess to them, this is heaven. Where we're at right now, this is heaven. That's what they're trying to make it into. This is the example of what they want it to be. Seems to be the message they're sending to their high in the sky God. Is that they want their heaven to be just like this. But who knows, maybe it'll be doodle-doo switcheroo and you go to heaven and become the opposite of what you are today. Maybe all white men become black women when they go to heaven. And then immediately get thrown into hell because in heaven they're racist. And all the black women get to rule because they become white men. Because Nazis rule heaven, right? Yeah. Right. Right. It hurts to live in this country right now. It hurts for me. Really bad. I've seen too much. I know too much. See, I've seen what happens when a president and when a group of people work for the good of other people. I've seen what can happen. Bill Clinton proved that. Bill Clinton was a fucked up mess of a human. But what he did on his job, he was great at it. Except for the free trade agreement, the World Free Trade Agreement. There should have been some stipulations put in there so that we didn't get undersold so bad like we did. Because giving everyone trying to give everyone the same equal footing when it costs so much more, the cost of living in your country is so much more than other people, puts you at a disadvantage when becoming competitive globally. It's always going to cost you a minimum of $2 to make the widget that every other country can make for $1 or 50 cents, and then some countries that even have slave labor can make the same widget for 10 cents and sell it for 30 cents, and you can't even start the process of beginning to produce the widget on that because the cost of living in your country is too high. So there should have been rules and engagements, and they tried to do that with the implementation of some tariffs. That's why we have tariffs, is to equalize shit out so that the Japanese don't come over here and sell cars for $5,000 and the American car companies go out of business because of it, and then the Japanese can raise their prices up to whatever they want because their competitors no longer exist. You know, the Walmart strategy. That's what Walmart does. Walmart moves into a town, then they send their secret shopper people out or whatever. I don't know what their titles are exactly. But they go to stores and they get the prices of everything at the stores that Walmart also sells. And then they come back to Walmart and they make sure that they undersell. They sell their products, the same exact product, the same exact name brand and everything for half the price or less than the other stores in the area sell. They'll even sell it at a loss. Okay, let's say you sell a set of pot and pans for $100. Okay. Walmart would be willing to sell those pots and pans for $30, even though it costs $40 just to make them. So that you're not making a profit at all. They would accept the loss on that and keep underselling you until you went out of business because you wouldn't be able to afford to sell the pots and pans. You might be able to put them on the shelf for like $60 or something like that, but you couldn't go down to 30 because that's manufacturing costs there. Well, Walmart sells so much stuff that they can make money off all the other things inside their store while they lose money on this item until you go out of business. After you go out of business, of course, they'll raise the pots and pans up to $110, and start making their money back. And this has been their motto. This is why Walmart is the biggest employer in America. Because every town they move to, they send these people out to go inside stores, find out what the prices are, and come back with those prices. And then they use the power of their other stores, not even the project power of the stuff in that store. They use the power of their other stores, and they can run that store at a complete total loss if they want to for years, for a few years if they want to, 5, 6 years. That store can make minus $1 million a year. It doesn't matter. All their other stores are making money, so they're still making their money. Just this one store is bleeding out. But that store is only bleeding out until the competition dies. And the competition can't afford to sell things for less than the price that it costs to make the things. And they know that. They know that it's impossible. Nobody can do business that way unless you have a massive network of stores, which allows you to pick different stores here and there, but they can lose insane amounts of money, and it's fine because all the other stores make up for it. This is how they've been doing their business the whole time. That's why they're the biggest chain in the industry now, the biggest retail chain. And you know who's making more money than anybody right now while all the prices are skyrocketing? Walmart. And the other discount stores, the Dollar Tree, Dollar Store, all of them, all the people that sell cheap shit in Walmart. Because, and that's the other thing they do, is after you've went out of business, then they start working on the manufacturers. They decide which manufacturers are going to stay in business and which ones aren't. So if you're not willing to give them insane deals and your shit's not super popular, then they can sell a substitute brand that looks just like yours, but it's just a cheap copy, imitation of yours. And then raise the prices on your products so high that nobody will buy them. And the other people's stuff sells and yours doesn't sell at all, and they put you out of business that way. See, they have a total control over their competition in retail and the manufacturers. They can dictate to the manufacturers how much they're going to sell their shit and how much the manufacturer is going to make a profit. And if the manufacturer disagrees with that, then they will jack up the price of their items, discount the price of their competitors' items until they put them out of business. And because they're the only ones that sell their shit now, the manufacturer no longer has a choice in anything anymore. And Amazon does the same exact thing. When Amazon first came out being big, like 15, 20 years ago, when they first started hitting real big before they started buying warehouses and making their own delivery service and shit, they tried to go against Walmart. They made an attempt at putting Walmart out of business by using Walmart's own strategies. But Walmart showed them that they had control over the manufacturers, not just the competitors in retail. Amazon quickly withdrew their war against Walmart, realizing it was a no-win situation. Because Walmart isn't like Hollywood Video or Blockbuster Video, who just sat there saying, "No, people always want DVDs. People aren't gonna just download and watch shit on TV. It takes too long and blah blah blah." And they wasn't thinking about the future, and Netflix was. Hollywood Video and Blockbuster Video don't exist anymore because they didn't adapt, they didn't adjust. And when Amazon seen Walmart immediately adapt and adjust to, oh, you want to say that you're going to get all the lazy people that don't want to leave anywhere and all the disabled people, you're going to get them? No, you're not. So they immediately started a delivery service. And to fuck Amazon, they said, we'll make it free, bitches. Totally free. And you won't have to buy no Walmart Prime, anything. And they did that here and there all over the place until Amazon stopped trying to fuck with them. And then everything stabilized out again. That was like 10 years ago or something like that, right? When Amazon first became big, they got too big for their britches real quick because they had been putting people out of business using the same model as Walmart. So they thought they could turn it against Walmart and use it on Walmart. But Walmart isn't one of them sit around and not do nothing kind of places. They are always looking to advance into the future because they want to try to figure out a way to get all your money for everything. So you can just sit at home and just sign over your paycheck to them and they'll give you everything. Food, rides, whatever. They try to put everything into their company. Banking, all of it. Everything. That's when Amazon realized that they wasn't going to be able to push Walmart around like they did everybody else. But they are both still using the same business philosophy. Completely destroying any competition. But the business oligarchs is that's what destroyed Russia. Completely. Letting one guy buy up everything in a field, monopolizing. And now America is making it okay to monopolize again. I remember when they broke up Ma Bell and AT&T from each other. I remember that because they had cornered the market. And that was controlling all the telecommunications. And Sprint and Verizon came out of that, was born, and they sued their ass. And won. Because we have a law against monopolization. We have laws against all kinds of shit that's going on right now. The problem is nobody is enforcing any laws at all. Pam Bondi won't enforce nothing. She won't enforce any laws that have anything to do with business because she's been bought off and bribed. And not like when she went to Washington. No. Pam Bondi was protecting Jeffrey Epstein way back when. She was the first one to start protecting him and Trump because they were both doing it together. They both ran their honeypot scheme for Russia. And Epstein was able to connect ties with Israel too, so yeah. They just use America for money. I mean, Epstein don't do anything anymore. He's dead. Trump had him killed. Yep. And I don't know who it was that killed him. I don't know if it was an Israeli operative or if it was a Russian operative. But Trump made sure they got access to the prison that night. Maybe it was both of them. Maybe it was one of each. Maybe they worked together. Or maybe it was a guy who worked for both of them, like the way Trump and Epstein did. They worked for both Russia and Israel to blackmail powerful people in America to get laws passed and things done. It's like, what have they got on Trump? What have they got on videos? They have videos of Trump fucking little kids. That's what they have. They have videos of Epstein and Trump fucking children. Beating children. Talking about disposing of bodies of children. That's what they have. And everybody's like, well, why didn't Biden? Because Biden is a rich motherfucker too. Do you not forget? He's a millionaire too. And they're all protecting each other. You don't have to be a pedophile to protect the pedophiles. You know that the pedophile is so connected to all of your friends and all of your shit too, that if they come down, it's all coming down. Not just his party and his people, but they're connected to your people because they all do business with each other. Everybody's implicated in it. Not like Joe Biden himself. He never had time to do any shit like that, and he probably wouldn't be able to anyway. It's as bad as his stutter used to be. He was Stuttering Stanley. Stuttering Stanley, Stuttering Stanley, Stuttering Stanley. That's from a movie. Shit, I can't remember the name of the movie. It was with Bruce Willis, where he's a psychiatrist who gets shot in the stomach by an ex-patient at the beginning, and then goes through the movie trying to find out why this kid is psychologically damaged. This kid claims to be able to see dead ghosts and shit, dead spirits. They only see what they want to see. They don't even know that they're dead. Well, yeah, there's so many people connected that it would look like he was, part of it and helping cover up, because they do help cover up for each other. Because they're all rich, because they're all connected. And if one guy's business goes down and his business is part of your business, then your business is going to lose money, you're going to suffer, and you're going to have to try to figure out how to... And it's easier to just lie and let them get away with their crimes and just keep living your life so you can keep making your money, because money is the god they all worship. They all know that there's no high in the sky god. They ain't worried about that shit at all. That's why they do the things they do. But money, their real god, that they do worry about. That they are paranoid about. That is what they worship 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All they want to do is figure out how to get more and more and more and more and more. It's never enough. 1 million's not enough. 1 billion's not enough. 100 billion's not enough. It's never enough. Never enough. I don't got nothing against rich people or anything like that. I have problems with people that worship money, though. I do have problems with that. Okay. What are we doing? Still going the same way? Okay, so I did nothing. Yeah, when you worship money, and you got lots of money, you'll do anything to protect it. Plus, they would have had to try to, write a law to get the Epstein files released. And they would have never gotten the votes. They almost didn't have the votes this one time, but Trump demanded that all of them vote for it to make them look like they were innocent while he was still trying to cover it up. While they're still covering it up. And they're going to continue to keep covering it up. While they're trying to say, we're the most transparent presidency in the United States. While we openly, blatantly, and right in front of your face tell you to stop asking. Of course his name is in there 30,000, 80, 100 million times. Who cares? What does that have to do with him now? Hey, look at Biden. What about Biden? Biden, his name is in there. His name ain't in there any times, but Biden, you know what? In the files, there's a person that mentions Hillary Clinton. What about Hillary Clinton? What about Biden? What about? As long as you're able to say, what about this person? And that means it's okay for you to commit any crimes that you want to. Because somebody else did a crime, whether it has anything to do with your crime or not, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Name of the rules now. If everybody's guilty, then it's okay for anyone, except you. If you're poor, then you are not allowed to commit any crimes. If you do, then we can beat you, stomp you, throw you in a prison, throw you on a plane, send you to another country with a language that you don't speak, and just get rid of you forever. That's the goal. Because America is the greatest country on earth. Yes, it is. Don't follow laws. Don't believe in morals. Don't believe in truth. Don't believe in honesty. And the high in the sky God says, I can do anything to anyone forever and ever. And as long as I say Jesus is king, then I am gonna go to heaven and get my rewards. Just like Adolf Hitler did. Because that's where they're all going. They're all going to the same heaven that Adolf Hitler is in. Because he did the same thing. He did whatever he wanted, killed whoever he wanted, discriminated against whoever he wanted. Everybody else is the enemy. I did nothing wrong, and if you think I did, what about that guy? What about that girl? That makes it okay for me if I say, what about? And we're all going to Hitler's heaven. Hitler's heaven, yeah, it's a brand new beautiful place. Hitler's heaven. Let's all join up and party now in Hitler's heaven. It's the greatest place there is. Let's go to Hitler's heaven. What a wonderful life we live. Hitler's heaven. And there it is. The Maniac Mental song moving up 4 notches to #1 today. America's top Nazis. Hitler heaven. Let's all go to Hitler heaven. That's where the Christian nationalists are going. And they're proud. They're proud to be part of the Hitler heaven. They're all proud to be Nazis. Fly their Confederate flags. Put it in the goddamn Capitol. Fly the flag of a defeated cause. In the capital of the greatest nation. Yes. Hitler's heaven. Oh. Well, that's going to do it for me. I just wanted to come on and let everybody know that there is a Hitler's heaven that we can all, if you work really hard, if you hate your neighbor. Oh my God! If you hate your neighbor and you discriminate against everybody, you think women don't have the right to anything. Except, you know, take off your shoes and cook me a meal. White fat ass slut. That's from a movie too. White fat ass slut. Go now, get my watermelon and my hypodermic, you know, you white fat ass slut. That's from Soul Man. A movie that there's no way they can make nowadays. Because that's how bad our sense of humor has gotten. We can't even joke about shit anymore. Because the Nazis have made shit so bad, so serious, that they've killed the comedy of America. Even all of our best comedians went over to the fucking Middle East and entertain the guys that fucking bombed us on 9/11. Ask Bill Burr. He's having a great time. And that guy from Saturday Night Live. His father died on the 9/11 plane attack. And he flew over to Saudi Arabia to make the people laugh that paid to have his father killed. Paid them and supplied them. Because it was the Saudis that was behind it. It was a few different countries, but the Saudis' money was the biggest. Bing, 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 bing. You know, the ones we're protecting right now. The ones that gave Trump, how many billions of dollars was it? $20 billion or something? They gave Kushner billions of dollars too, both of them. And then Qatar giving him a $400 million airplane, and they're going to try to turn it into Air Force One, and then he's going to keep it after he leaves office, which he's not planning on leaving office, but he's going to keep it and fly it around as his own personal jet, and nobody's going to do anything about it. Everybody's just going to let it go. And why? Why would everybody do that? Well, Hitler's heaven. They're all trying to get into Hitler's heaven. Good God. Get it straight now. This is the goal of all the white men in America now, I guess. The rich white men, not regular white men, because us poor white men that don't worship money and don't give a fuck about it, just see it as a means to, you know, this is how everybody does trade, so I have to use it. Yeah, for those that worship and greedicize or are so greedy about their money, they're all going to Hitler's heaven. I'm sure they're going to have a great time there, too. Shit, I forgot what my fucking point was. I forgot what I was saying. It's alright. Yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up right here, right now, because there ain't really much else to say about it. I'm just... If you feel depressed, like all is lost and hopeless, you're not alone. I feel the exact same way, too. Because I don't want to go to Hitler's heaven. Nope. Not a goal of mine. I think it's a horrible thing. There's a lot of people in this country and throughout the world that think Hitler's heaven is a good idea. They want to be just like him. And they preaching it every day. Most of it's still dog whistling, but not all of it. Sometimes they still just straight out right in your face, you know. Drop the flag half-mast for a racist piece of shit that died believing that anybody that didn't have white skin wasn't worthy. Or keeping the flag at full mast and saying that the guy who did the most humanitarian causes and made the biggest change in the world after his presidency, more than any other president in the history of the fucking world. And I'm not talking about just the United States. I'm talking about any country, president of any country. I've never heard of such a person going around the world and making life better for everybody, everywhere that he came in contact with. Spent all his last days building houses for poor people. Jimmy fucking Carter. He had a really hard time as president. He wasn't the best president or anything. He was He was in peace for most of his presidency until that shit in Iran happened, but that was caused because of what America had done back in the 50s and 60s when we took Iran's democracy away from them and forced them to have a fucking royal family bullshit be their leader. And in 79, they'd had enough of it and couldn't stand it anymore. And said, no, we're going to pick our own leader, fuck you. And you're not going to just take our oil out of the ground from our country and we don't get none of the money. We don't get nothing in return at all. Just some rich king guy sits up there telling us what to do, how to live, who to be, and gets to keep all the wealth for himself and share, well, America gets all the wealth and they share some of it with him. I remember all of that. I remember when he came running to our country for help because he was sick, because they didn't have good health care or nothing in their country, because he was stealing all their fucking money. Billions and billions of dollars. He was just stealing it all and giving it to, and giving America all of their fucking oil, and stealing all their money. They couldn't take it anymore. This comes from that. And that comes from what they had done before. We did this. We've been doing this to the Middle East. The Middle East is all fucked up because of America. Not 100% America, but a big, good chunk percentage of it is because of the United States of America. And then I guess when we got tired of border, we decided to arm up Israel to the point where they had a military that was just like America's. And now Israel is showing the world what a real genocidal what a real genocidal psychotic maniac looks like. Because they are attacking multiple countries at the same time, and they're not it's not a war. They say it's war, but it's not a war. There's nobody fighting back against them because nobody has the equipment to fight back like that. It's just a straight up fucking genocide. They're bombing downtown Beirut, in Beirut, Lebanon right now. And the Hezbollah is like 20 miles outside the city of Beirut. Now they're lofting bombs over there somewhere where they're at too, but they're mostly focused on downtown. And now they're sending in armed forces on the ground to clean up all the women and children that might be running and screaming for their lives, to murder them and make them shut the fuck up. Because that's how Israel does. I don't have anything against the Jewish people, or the Jews as they call them. Nothing at all. But Israel, they're all going to Hitler's heaven. Yeah. They're building a house in Hitler's heaven just for Israel. And I'm sure they'll enjoy, toasting Hitler, drinking with Hitler, sucking on Hitler's penis. All the things they're going to get to do and enjoy while they're in Hitler's heaven. Because they're going. If anybody deserves to go to Hitler's heaven, it is Israel, the government of Israel, and their military. Because their military thinks that target practice on 2- and 3-year-olds is funny. And target practice on ambulances and World Healthcare workers is funny. So they're absolutely going to Hitler heaven. And they deserve it. In my opinion, will never change about them. I'm glad I never defended them to begin with. I'm glad I've always looked at a party first and wanted to know, well, who are they? What do they do? I'm not gonna condemn or promote somebody that I don't know anything about. I've never seen them do anything good for anybody, ever. Not in my lifetime. And I've been here since 1965. So yeah, I've been here a little while. I've seen a lot of things. I was born during a war. And I'm going to die during a war. Because America won't stop attacking everybody. Just won't stop. There's no reasoning or justification for any of it. The war that I was born in, while that was going on, is the same exact shit that's happening right now. Unjustified war that gives no benefit to us whatsoever. It only kills our sons and daughters, and that's it. And why are we doing this war? Well, for the same reason that the war was going on when I was born. Vietnam is what I'm talking about. Same exact reason. We're sending our sons and daughters to die on behalf of another country. Back then it was South Vietnam. Now it's Israel. It's still the same thing. Except the difference between now and then is back then, my countrymen were fighting for civil rights and equal rights for everybody. And now, the Nazi Republican Party is trying to take away everybody's rights. They want to roll us back to before 1960, 50, 40, 30, 20. They want to roll us back to 1850. Those are the great again days that they dream of. The days of 1850. That's what they want. That's going to do it for me. I'm miserable. Oh my God. Hold on. Let's look at these cars, see if I probably can't afford any of them. It's only got 700 grand, so I'm sure these are all $1 million plus cars, every one of them, I bet. But every one of them is. No way! What is this, a Jaguar? Or MG? Triumph? What is it? It's too shiny, I can't see it, I can't read it. Alpine, is that what it says? Alpine, is that part of Jag? I had MG Midget, wasn't originally part of Jaguar, but Jaguar ended up buying them out later. I had to get all my parts through Jaguar. That's the same car that's down there. Are all these the same car? That looks like a Porsche. Yeah, it's a Porsche, yeah. Let's see. What's this over here? Oh no, is this could it be? Is it a Cobra? 3 million? Yep, it's a Shelby. Shelby Cobra. I call it Cobra. It's Shelby. I don't know why I call it a Cobra. I guess because the Cobra's thing. You ain't got enough money. That's a Jag. Got enough money. I had a 67 Midget that was just... Man, I love that car. It was such a cool car. It got wrecked because of these fucking guys racing a Camaro and a Mustang, racing each other down the fucking street. And it was either I had one of two choices: either have a head-on collision with one of them and we all die, or ditch my car. I had to ditch my car. It fucked up the whole front end of it, and I couldn't get it fixed. And then just life happened. It's a long story about how all that fell apart. It was sad that I lost it, but it wasn't like, it's just things. I had an MG Midget, and I had a Mustang, and I had a 280ZX. That's the cars that I had when I was single. Once I got married, the days of having any extra money in my pocket ended, and there was no more sports cars. I can't get it because it's reputation level 20. Is that what the problem's going to be when I try to do this? Man, let's see. I'm going to try. I know it's going to say no. Well, there's not even a way to buy it. There's no button to press. There's no button to press. I can't buy it. Because I have to have a reputation. Okay, that's cool. Well, when I get a reputation 20, then I'll probably have millions of dollars. So, okay, it would have been nice if I could have. It's all reputation 20, though. I don't know what mine even is. Where's that at? That's social. Under social. 11. Is that. Now, is that my ranking, or is that my reputation ranking? Or is my reputation 10, like over there at the 705,000 cents? I don't know. Reputation. Oh, yeah, 11. Okay, it says up there, reputation 11. It's got a little crown. Okay. I'm not too far away. Just need 9 more. It should only take a year. 18 million. No way would I pay 18 million for that car. No way. It don't do it for me anyway. It looks like a, oh, I can't think of what it looks like with that round front end like that. It looks kind of like a Shelby a little bit, really. What it kind of looks like. How do I leave? Right, exit. How do I leave? I mean, my car's pretty cool. I like it. It's pretty. It's Alpine. But I gotta make bunches more money before I can do that. So. Alright. Let's do something dangerous and crazy like this! Ha ha ha! Ah ha 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 ha! This is how I normally drive too in real life. Want to go for a ride with me? Oh, we're still losing control. New record for losing control. Whoa. I can't get it up. 99. Alright, well, at least I got one. Alright, well. That's gonna do it for me. I'm gonna click off now and I'll be back on in a little bit to play something else. I don't know what, but that's really all I have to say about all that stuff for now. I will remain depressed and upset for the next 2.5 years. Maybe things will change 8 months from now. And then 12 months from now, everything will be different. I hope. Man, do I hope. Because I really don't want to see my whole country go to Hitler's heaven. It might sound wonderful, but to me, it just sounds like a terrible, terrible place. Hitler's heaven sounds like rotten milk and cat shit mixed together, served up as dinner. Just not something I can get all excited about. Alright, until my next tear fall. That'd do it for me. I'll probably play some Spider-Man or something, or I will play some Toxic Commando in a few minutes. I'll be back on to play that. It's a new game. Just came out a few days ago. From the people that make World War Z, I think. Because they were advertising it, so I imagine they make that too. So yeah, I'll be playing some Toxic Commando. Just trying to get used to that game. It's insane. It's really cool. It's funny. Until next time. Sorry about my shitty attitude. I just don't want to go to Hitler's heaven. Alright then. Bye-bye.